And while Greece's downgrade seeing initially some dent to sentiment, but not completely, we've seen the JSE picking up some steam, it seems. How are you reading the global playing field at the moment? Because things are looking pretty mixed right now.
Yes, I mean, obviously the Dow started very strong yesterday and we were up about 1.1% in America. And after that news of Moody's downgrade of Greece to junk, it was sold off very aggressively. I think that the sell-off was a little bit overdone. I think people already know that the problems in Greece, and that is really priced into the markets already. And I think just the market recovering slightly this morning. We saw a little bit of a sell-off, but the buyers come back into the market and looking relatively strong into closeout.
Of course, regarding Europe, the markets are looking forward to the meeting of EU leaders on Thursday, where expectation is for the group to come forward and convince financial markets that they can contain a debt crisis by agreeing to how to tighten budget or policy coordination and strengthen budget discipline moving forward. What are your expectations out of that?
Well, it's really good for the market to give us a clear indication of what they are going to do and looking forward, how they're going to alleviate the sovereign debt issues. If they come out with a wishy-washy comment and they don't really give any clear indication of how they're going to fix it, I think we'll have another pullback in the markets. So it is, we're watching that very closely, and they need to give us a clear indication and long-term of how they're going to solve those debt issues.
Ahead of that, and for now, we've got the euro holding nicely, showing some resilience at the 120 mark, holding up relatively well. What's your outlook for that unit moving forward?
Well, it reached, I think, a 4.5-year low against the dollar of 119 a week or two ago, and from there it's managed to hold up quite strongly. The 120 level holding as well, so showing a little bit of resilience, and I think a little bit stronger than most people would have thought in the last week or two. I think if those debt crises can hold out and they can give a positive statement on Thursday, we can probably see it up to about 125. If there's a weak statement, then we're going to have the long-term view that will break that 119 and go to 116. So quite a lot waiting for this announcement on Thursday.
Well, while we have Europe stealing much of the attention on home ground, we've got futures closeout on Thursday. What are your expectations in terms of local activity with all that's playing out globally, and of course then the Soccer World Cup underway here in South Africa as well?
Obviously with the holiday tomorrow, a lot of the closeout is happening today rather than that's going to happen on Thursday. There is one very big option strike at 25,000, and if we get close to those levels, I think that we'll see a push through that level as the gamma starts to increase, and there'll be forced buying into the market. On the other side, there are also strikes around at the 24,000 level, so we're in about a 1,000-point range, and I think we'll trade within that range throughout closeout.
Of course, a lot of this market direction is being influenced at the moment by international activity and international economic data that we're seeing being revealed. But in South Africa, posing an element of risk to our own economic growth has been the flurry of strikes we've seen. For now, Eskom possibly facing a strike by up to 16,000 workers, I was saying earlier in the news, who are demanding an 18% wage hike. Implications here for broader South African business?
Definitely. We think if you take a look at the business confidence index, yesterday it came out a little bit lower. And one of the reasons is that consumer spending is low. If the unions keep asking for these very, very high increases and force massive strikes and get a lot very high increases way above inflation, what it starts to do is it starts to hamper employees from actually employing new people. And they're not going to employ extra people at these very high levels, and therefore unemployment stays very high. So really at a point it starts to the unions start to hamper the growth of employment.
Well, with that coming under some fire, let's talk retail here, because we've got sales data being expected on Thursday here in South Africa. After consumer confidence dipped back slightly yesterday, what's the market pricing in as far as that retail sales number is concerned?
Well, I think the last number came in at about 1%, and we're probably expecting around those numbers again. Obviously, with increased sales during the World Cup, it's really the next one we're really waiting for, to see that if those foreigners and the locals really started to spend over the World Cup, and that feel-good factor that we chat in about. But I think it'll be as expected, not too much on the upside, but a negative number would show you that the consumer is still under a very big debt burden in South Africa.
More and more so, we've got South African retailers looking to expand their regional footprint, focusing on growth avenues on the rest of the continent most especially. And with that in the news today, Astral Foods Foods planning some extension into Zambia. We see that share price trading over 4% to the good, and really proving that if you've a company focusing on the right places in Africa, it's got to be good news for you moving forward.
Yes, I think obviously very competitive in South Africa, and as soon as you move out, you start to be able to increase those operating margins. And if you can get the right country and the right demographics for your product, you can really expand excessively. And I think we see ShopRite now has got 12 stores. Pick n Pay is going to be opening a store in Zambia as well, and Astral Foods now with the broiler going forward. So very good for them. It's a very good base to start growing into Africa, and leaving someone like Rainbow behind, which Rainbow Chickens, which is all local currently. So maybe you'll see Rainbow Chickens in the future also looking to move out maybe into Mozambique or into Angola as well.
Before we go, Rob, a quick look at a company in the resource space. We've got Anglo's pushing back towards the 300 zone. It's a nice tick up from that 268 levels that we've seen Anglo's trading at over the recent past.
Well, it just shows you that if you've got a strong stomach and you want to trade in these very, very volatile markets, Anglo's was 270. It's now increased more than 10% in about 2 weeks. So there's a lot of profit to be made trading this market. You just have to have your levels that you want to buy at, and have strong resolve to buy when the market is looking really weak. And Anglo's there trading now 302 Rand. That's an increase of more than 10%. So on the trading front, you can still make good money in this volatile market.
On that note.